Okay. Hi bees. Today we're tuning in today for our fourth episode. What's the buzz? Bees business about lupus. And we have our first guest. Can you please introduce yourself?
Sure. I am Latoya Clark, the founder of Butterfly Chats Media. I have had lupus for officially probably about 2 years now, and I'm just really happy to be here.
Thank you. Thanks for coming on. I do have a few questions for you. So let's start out with your diagnosis. Do you remember at what age you were diagnosed?
So, like I said, officially, I was diagnosed about 2 years ago. So it was like 42. Um, or actually, I'm sorry, that's not 2 years ago. It's 43. Sorry, 43. Um, and it was a very convoluted journey to diagnosis, and it's still kind of murky waters, but we're working on it.
Okay. So where were you at in your life when you got this diagnosis? Did you experience any flare-ups? Like what were some of the symptoms? Like what happened that day?
So I was already in like the chronic illness world. I became chronically ill with chronic pain about 15-ish years ago. I had a medical issue, emergency that led to multiple surgeries and just a whole bunch of things. um, and then the chronic pain set in after about my fourth surgery. So I I and my practitioners were thinking that my pain was from fibromyalgia due to surgical trauma. And then that's kind of like where they left me. But over the years, kept developing more symptoms, joint pain, swelling, rashes, irritations, just random things that didn't really make sense. So I finally got to a rheumatologist, and my I received my first ANA positive about 5 years ago. And then really was just kind of left there. Like it was like, okay, you have an ANA positive. We're gonna give you Lyrica and like the generic things for pain, and that was that. Um, but I had to end up, but that diagnosing doctor pretty much just left me there. So I found another doctor, and she did more scans, more blood work, and when she did her test, my ANA was inconclusive, but she was like, you have all the things. Like your inflammation markers are off the charts. Like, there's some liver involvement, but it's not like bad. And it's so my official diagnosis is unspecified lupus without organ involvement. Um, and she keeps retesting me, I guess, like hoping to find or catch me in an ANA positive, so she can actually like hammer down what it is I have.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
And it seems to be a bit confusing too because you had a ANA positive,
Hmm.
but then you just said they told you it was an unspecified lupus without organ involvement.
Right. Right. And
You,
and this is, I mean, and I'm sure it's similar in other places, but it's specifically where I am right now. The availability of specialists is null. So even to get the diagnosis of unspecified lupus, I had to travel 2.5 hours to get that
oh
diagnosis.
my goodness.
Um, yeah. It's just not available. And yeah, it's very confusing. And I'm like, I don't know what to expect. And when I do have flare ups, because I was getting the butterfly rash, but then they put me on like Lyrica and some other medications, and that went away, but I still get the rashes and the breakouts in other parts of my body.
Hmm. Okay. Now, where do you reside? Where are you living at right now?
I'm in Alabama, down in Dothan, in like Dothan, Alabama. So it's like lower deep south.
And you have to drive at least 2.5 hours away just to get to a specialist, there
Hmm.
and back.
Yep, yep, exactly. 2.5 hours one way. Yep,
That is ridiculous. So,
very much so.
how has dealing with this illness affected your personal life? How has it affected like your work life? Um, were you working prior to getting this illness, and are you working now?
Uh, it has pretty much decimated my life, just like it's gone. And so
Mhm.
before chronic illness in general, yes. I was, as I like to say, I was living my best life. I was, late 20s. I had just finally gotten my dream job as a pastry chef. I went to school, got trained, worked my way through the system. I was literally only working for a month before my body shut down. Double pneumonia, in the hospital for a month. I had abdominal tumors. Girl, it was a lot. Um,
Oh,
So yeah, now and then even after that, a couple of years passed after the surgeries, I still try to live a life. I did try to work. It had to be, work from home, which of course we all working from home for quite a while, you know.
yeah,
But even working from home was a challenge because then I started having like IBSD issues and the fatigue on top of like not being able to get I wasn't able to eat properly, and
yes.
it was a perfect storm. So after a
Mhm,
couple of years, even after the pandemic, I
mhm.
even working in my home at my computer became an issue because then my bones started to break down. I have disintegrating discs in my low back. Um,
Yeah.
and and that's one of the things that like the second specialist was saying. She's like,
Mhm,
your bones are brittly,
mhm.
and like I have like gum issues, and I have like all the things that she's like, you should have lupus. That's what came
Right,
out of her mouth. She's like, looking at these numbers, looking at this, you should have lupus. But
right,
I need to catch you. I need to catch you at a positive, at ANA positive, to like insurance wise and everything, put it on there. And that ANA is hiding. It is, I don't know. So I'm pretty much
mm,
just left here waiting. And she said she can't really put me on any specific lupus medication because she's
yes.
not certain of what type of lupus I have. And I'm like, well,
Hmm.
we don't want you just throwing things at me. I've been through that.
Right, right, right,
So yeah, right now I'm just on the generics, like Lyrica, the tryptoline, things just to kind of manage the pain, the swelling. Um, dermatologist. I'm doing like specialized face cleansing things to try to keep my face
right.
clear. But that's it. And I'm like,
That's that is so weird. That's so weird. You have all of the symptoms, but
yep.
when they run the test, it's not saying that you have
Mm-mm.
lupus.
And
But
she said the thing is,
mhm.
it's not even coming back. It's not even coming back ANA negative. It's just saying null. Like
It's saying what? What is it
it's like saying
saying?
it's like the test is coming back like invalid. Like
Wow.
it's not popping positive or negative, but it is
Hmm.
showing out of this world inflammation.
Okay. So you got a lot of inflammation going on,
Hmm.
and they've been prescribing different meds for the pain and to prevent the like swelling like
Hmm.
that. So are you interested in trying to, I don't know, figure out what this is, like go get an opinion from another specialist, or are you just accepting it, and you like what do you, how do you feel? What are your
Uh,
next steps?
I feel frustrated. I feel
Yeah,
frustrated, and if I'm 100% honest, I'm angry because I don't
yeah,
know why this should be so difficult. Like first of all, like why is professionals so inaccessible? That's number one.
yes,
But I also know that I myself personally can't really do much about that. All I can do is what I can do. I have definitely been seeking out, other professionals, other doctors. Um, and I'm like, okay, well, because there's even a point. I'm like, well, do I even have lupus? Like, y'all don't seem to know. Like,
right,
and like I've asked her that. I'm like, so like, do you think like I need to find somebody else? Like, what is this? And she's like, no. She was like, she just keeps saying, You should have lupus." that that's what these numbers are saying. And the only other, I guess we'll say, well, for me, more trusted professionals or people who would do this a lot would be in Birmingham, which is 4 hours away from me one way.
no,
So, and I actually have one specialist for my gastrointestinal issues that is in Birmingham. And she's been wonderful. I don't have to travel to her but once a year, and she does all my other appointments virtually. You know,
okay,
but I know, like, I feel like, because even my sister, she also has fibromyalgia and lymphedema. So
okay,
she kind of gets it. And she's like, they need to just admit you. They need to admit you and
yeah,
just run the gamut.
right,
And that's the only thing I have not requested. And I should be ashamed. I'm kind of a little ashamed as an advocate to say this, but I am fearful to voice that and suggest that, because I am at a point to where I'm like, lock me up in the hospital room, stick me with what you guys stick me with, and figure this out.
yeah,
Like, if it is lupus, we need to know what, where, and how. And if it's
yes,
not, we need to not just be throwing medications at me.
right. Because I'm frustrated for you because this is so odd. This is
I
so
mean, and this
strange.
is going on. Well, at this point, I mean, it's not what 4 years now that I've been
Right.
back and forth, up and down. Um, and so I guess technically at this point, I'm kind of at I'm just tired point, and I'm like, I'm just going to do what I can do, keep up with my appointments, and I'm looking for other avenues, but what is there
Wow.
else to do?
So, okay, knowing all of this,
Hmm.
it should really it really sheds a light on these doctors, because a lot of doctors, and I'm just saying, a lot of doctors really don't know what they're doing.
Hmm.
You can't trust everyone's word.
No.
A lot of doctors really don't know what they're doing. So a lot of people have been going to like holistic doctors and trying to find a natural way to heal from lupus, because the doctors don't know. They said it's no cure. They want to keep piling on medication after medication after medication, knowing that the medications have side effects. If they give you something for your heart, now your vision is messed up. They give you something for your vision, now you have more inflammation. They give you something for that, now something wrong with your kidneys. It's
Right.
it's constantly something is going on, and the medications are not the maybe they're not the best option right now,
Hmm.
because it's making it worse. It's making things worse. Have you
Yeah.
thought about seeking some help to try to go a natural way, or is that the
My
plan?
Yeah, my
What's
overall goal for
yeah.
that is my overall goal, because
Okay.
at at, at one point, at like the top point, I was on 27 medications,
Woo!
and none of
That's
them were specifically for a diagnosis. It was all treatment mitigation is what they
oh
called it.
no, no,
So at
no.
that point, I was like, it got to be a better way. It got to be a tea or some herbs or some grass leaves or
Yes.
something, something that's better than me chugging down all these pills. And then, like you said, the side effects. And then I, I, the, this time last year, I was done, done. And I literally fired every single person on my medical team, general practitioner, rheumatologist. I let them all go because they weren't helping me, you
Right.
know. Um, and that was scary, but it ended up being one of the best decisions I made.
Yes.
Um, I because the previous team, all older white men, which all older white men, they're great, but
Hmm.
they weren't hearing me.
Yes.
The first rheumatologist that gave me that found the ANA positive, I let him go because I was doing my own research. So I knew that okay, you get one positive, you need to confirm it and do another test to make sure. I just
Right.
all I did was suggest that. I'm like, okay, so when can we run the test again just to be sure?
Hmm.
He told me, don't worry about the lupus. You take the medicine and let me worry about it. Oh, and by the way, right? And oh, by the way, if you do have a crisis or a flare and you have to go to the ER, don't tell them you have lupus because they won't help you.
Baby, no,
No,
no, no, no.
yeah,
I would not see him again.
never did, never did. I'm like,
You
I must be in a fever dream because
okay?
what?
I
How
can't
am I
believe
not gonna
that.
worry about the lupus, sir? I'm like, so yeah, he had to go real quick.
Okay. Something's definitely have to be done. I understand that people are raising money to find to pay scientists to come up to do research and to find a cure. I understand that. And they've been doing that for so many years, right? Why
Right,
not allocate money and put it to the side to actually help the person living with lupus, help them in their time of need right now? We
right,
have so many people living with lupus that can't afford their medications, that can't afford to even buy a new wheelchair. They can't afford to even live because they may be receiving benefits and they only get what, maybe $1,200 a month. And let's say your rent is $900.
right.
Then you got $300 left. You still need food. You still got to put clothes on your back. You still
Mhm.
have to have transportation to and from your doctor's appointments. All of the money that they're raising for research to try to find a cure. How about you put 25% of the money towards the well-being of the person living with lupus right now?
Yeah.
They need help too. They
Mhm.
it's crazy the type of world that we're living in, and we can't even get a proper diagnosis for people living with lupus. It
No.
takes 3 to 4 years, maybe 6 to 7 years just to get the right diagnosis. That's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah. And all the while, your disease is progressing, putting you in a
Yes.
worse medical state, which means you're going to require more medical care. If we
Yes.
can get to it in the beginning, or at least as soon as possible, before organ involvement starts, before bones start breaking, before depression and anxiety sets
Exactly.
in and wrecks your mental health, like let's get at the beginning instead of at the end when you need all the care.
Yes. Yes.
It's frustrating. It's yeah, it's crazy. So when I replaced the medical team, I was very specific. I went for people that looked like me. I looked for women and black, or at least person of color. And when I did that, that's really when I started getting some kind of answers. I may not have all the answers, but
yes.
I changed my general practice doctor to actually they're mostly female and they're what third, fourth year interns. So they have a lot of the newer information, and because they're in learning mode, they're more willing to sit and listen to you and actually process what you're saying and then apply the new technologies and treatments to what you're doing. um it's a gamble, but for me it has helped. They've started taking me off some of my medications because all those 27 medications, at least 5 of them were interacting with each other.
Wow.
So now, so it's like it and I was on those things for years. you know so it I always say that if you are in a position to switch up, especially if you're not getting the responses and the answers and the care you need, change. They work for you in essence. And if they're not giving you what you need, find somebody else.
Yes. Yes. I Another thing I do not like is they start out prescribing you all these medications, but they don't inquire about a person's diet. I've been hearing that some of the foods that we all like to eat
Yeah.
can cause inflammation. Why
Yep.
not ask, okay, well, before I prescribe you these drugs, let's go down the list. What is your diet looking like? What are you eating?
Right.
Let's talk about the things you need to start eating, and let's talk about the things you need to stop eating. Let's
Hmm.
do that. Let's talk about that first. And then, if that doesn't work, let's go another route. Don't start
Hmm.
out giving medication first.
Yeah.
We
I
have
mean,
to find
and nine
people
times
like,
out of ten, the medications are going to end up at least giving you some sort of intestinal, gastro upset at some point.
yes, yes, because a lot of those medications don't dissolve in your body the right way. If you
Nope.
taking that many pills a day, it's not dissolving right.
Mm-mm.
Ugh, it's
No.
not doing nothing. It's not. It's
And they
not doing.
say like, stay hydrated, drink water, and yeah, on the top that sounds simple enough. But if you are fatigued 12 hours out of a 24-hour day and you're laying in the bed, sleeping, how can you stay hydrated? Because
Exactly.
you're out of it. You're done.
Right.
It's a challenge, and even to the point of diet. Depending on where you are, even some certain vegetables you have to limit. There's the nightshades. I mean, there's a whole world of medicinal helps and people and things that can hurt in the dietary world, and that's a lot to process on your own.
Yes. And doctors will say, oh, you need to have this amount of fruits and vegetables per day, or you need to have, um, some of them will tell you, but
Hmm.
what if you don't have access to those
Right.
healthy grocery stores? What if you don't have transportation to those stores? What if you don't even have the money to buy that because you're
Hmm.
getting disability and you may only be receiving $1,200 a month, but my
Right.
rent, like I said, what if my rent is 900, or what if
Right.
my rent is 1,000? I don't have enough to pay for food. So you
Mm-mm.
telling me what to eat? Can you prescribe me with some food stamps?
Exactly, because I
You do
mean,
that.
I
You
have
gotta
I have
prescribe
noticed that. I mean, seriously, because it is it's insane at the high price of salad mixes, healthy foods. But you can go and get a family size bag of Doritos for like 2 cents. I mean,
Mhm.
it's like, hamburger and all the fatty, and even if you're doing hamburgers or ground meats, the lower leaner meats are more expensive than the ones that are packed full of fat and gristle. You
Okay.
know, it it is insane. I mean, I just got a grocery delivery for the week, and it was at about $100.
Wow.
And it's because
Wow.
I'm trying to eat healthy. It's like, salmons and fishes, bagged salads, things like that. And I mean, and because of my fatigue and like all the things that I'm doing, I like to do like meals that are somewhat already prepared, which also kind of jacks up the price, but it's like you have to find some sort of balance between keeping yourself going and not
Yes.
overdoing it, but also while, like you said, trying to live a healthy life, and
Yeah.
that cost.
Something has to be done. It
Hmm.
it definitely does. And it's not going to happen overnight, but
No.
it's going to have to take a whole bunch of us to
Yeah.
get together and stand firm on what it is that we want. And we gotta stick together, and we gotta
Yeah.
continue to fight, because this is the times we're living in right now, and it sucks. It
Mm,
sucks for a
it
lot
is.
of people.
I mean, 'cause
And
I went
Lupus
to
doesn't
the
just. Mhm.
oh
I'm sorry.
no,
Go ahead.
so I went to the farmers market, to try to get some locally grown vegetables and support local. And I don't know if it's everywhere, but you guys can look into it. There is
Hmm.
a farmers nutritional act, and I may be calling it the wrong thing, but there
Hmm.
is a separate fund to where you can get a card for to shop at farmers markets. But here's the catch: it's only for seniors. I'm like,
I hate that.
and now I mean, look, I want the elderly people to eat well too, but
Yeah.
why? So I okay, great. My mom and grandmom can eat wonderfully,
Right.
and it's like I think they said the max is like $50, but if you're getting it from a farmer's market, you can rack out with fifty
Yes.
dollars
Yes.
worth of produce,
Right.
you know. So I know down here in Alabama that is an option, so people may want to look into that, and
Yes.
maybe other areas have something similar, so that's a help, that's a start, but again, you got to be 65 or older to qualify.
Right. What about right now? I don't want to have to wait to eat healthy until I'm a senior. Like,
Yeah,
until I'm a senior to eat healthy. Like, no,
yeah,
that sucks.
so yeah. It's like I don't know, I don't know.
That's a lot. That's a lot to deal with. It is. But Latoya, I do have to ask, is there
Mhm.
something that you want the world to know? Like, what can they take away from this talk that we had today? And what do you want them to know? Anyone living with lupus or anyone living with a chronic illness, what is it that you want them to know and take away from this discussion we had today?
That you're not alone.
Hmm.
Like, you may feel isolated, you may be isolated for one reason or another. um but Middle B, Butterfly Chess Media, and other organizations. There are organizations out there that
Yes.
have safe spaces that you can get resources or just vent, because as we know, just this talk is like, I live with this stuff every day and I still got to be perky and joyful, you know? And
Yeah.
it's hard. So if you are in an isolated state or you feel as if you're isolated, just know you don't have to be. And just a little bit of courage, reaching out. There are people out there that will help you the best that they can.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in with us today. Yes, just thank you so much. And thank you for coming on and sharing your story. I'm pretty sure there are plenty of others who can relate. And we will be airing this Sunday at 4 p.m. Central.
Okay.
And if there's anything else that you want to talk about, we can talk one to one outside of this. But thanks
Okay.
for coming in. And you all have a safe and blessed rest of your week. And until next time, bees, right here on What's the Buzz, Bees Business about lupus. I will see you all next time. Peace. Bye.